Hanif have released a transcript of his second interrogation by federal police. They say they've done it to counter the government's selective release of information on the case, which has damaged their client's reputation. The move comes after yesterday's court victory for the Indian doctor. David Lawrence reports.
Mohammed Hanif's legal team say the government, and the immigration minister in particular, has tried to slander their client with continuing innuendo from the time he left Australia.
If anything, that actually heightens rather than lessens my suspicion.
And just yesterday, when a judge ruled the minister had made a mistake when he revoked his visa.
I have a greater level of suspicion.
But the more serious accusation from the Indian doctor's lawyers is that the government has used its information selectively, releasing only part of Dr. Hanif's interview with the Australian Federal Police.
There was a computer room conversation, a chat room conversation with Dr. Hanif's brother in India on the afternoon before his attempted hasty departure from Australia. In it, the brother of Hanif, Shuaib, says, "Nothing has been found out about you," and asks when Dr. Hanif would be getting out, to which Hanif replied, "Today." The brother asked whether he had permission to take leave and what he told the hospital. Dr. Hanif said he told them that his baby was born in an emergency caesarean. The brother told him to, quote, "Tell them that you have a daughter born, do not tell them anything else."
Today, the lawyers released the full transcript of the second police interview at the request of the former Gold Coast doctor. They claim it confirms the view of the Director of Public Prosecutions that there was no basis to allege wrongdoing by Dr. Hanif.
One of the things that has happened is there's been a selective sort of release by the government of certain information, and the most damning one that was released was the chat room, reference made to the chat room conversation between Dr. Hanif and his brother, and that was only really put out in part.
Mr. Russo says the full transcript shows Dr. Hanif tried to contact London police about his SIM card and booked his leave from the Gold Coast hospital before the chat room conversation with his brother.
I was always worried that there was only only half of the story out there, and it's like reading half a book, was my way of looking at it.
Tonight, the Australian Federal Police released a statement criticising the decision to release the interview transcript. The continuing attempts by Dr. Hanif's defence team to use the media to run their case is both unprofessional and inappropriate, and the AFP has raised this aspect with the Queensland Legal Services Commission. The AFP says transcripts of interviews are provided to defence lawyers for the purpose of court proceedings. David Lawrence, Lateline.
Well, Kevin Andrews remains unrepentant about his treatment of Dr. Hanif and says he's not just relying on evidence now in the public domain, but secret information given to him by the federal police. Beyond that, Mr. Andrews is now focusing on another Indian doctor who was at the same Gold Coast hospital. Dr. Asif Ali was the friend who drove Dr. Hanif to the airport on the day